just said to Cheryl, how can I say anything after that? First of all, thank you.
You won't have any problem.
Well, now you know my bride of almost 45 years now. Unfortunately, our son Rob has the flu and couldn't come from Chicago, but son Jamie and his children, Jay and Lily, our grandchildren, are here. And his wife, who is a school band director in Southwest Iowa, is at NMEA right now because she has a student in the All-State Band here, so she could not be here. We have 3 horn players in the family, Jamie, Jay, and my wife Cheryl. And we have a new euphony player in the family too, Lily. And Jamie's brother was an all-state trombone player, and so Lily plays the trombone, except hers has bells on. As you probably know, I started my career with NMEA as a College University Affairs Chair in 1981, and then in 1985 I became President-elect in the President's rotation. In those days, before we had the Executive Director position, the President-elect got to put together the conference. I had one small problem. We had no money. I did the first NMEA conference with a budget of $250 for clinicians. We've come a long way since that time. When I began my President's rotation, I had a couple of challenges to overcome in addition to the funding issues. The first one was Art Schreppel, who edited the journal from just a few, I think 50 years, retired. Steve Baker, who was the president ahead of me, resigned. And then Robin Kuger, at the flimsy excuse he's going to go work on a doctorate somewhere, resigned as the Secretary-Treasurer. I felt like I was the captain of the Titanic. But fortunately, many good people stepped in. And when I was preparing these comments, I went through the officers that I worked with during that time. And it's a who's who. This is when Glenn Neerman's first started with us, Mike Meek, and many others. And of course, Wayne Johnson was there then still, and he's still there. But I'll name names in the article you'll get to read so that you can see, or you can see the names of all those wonderful people. NMEA has continued to grow and prosper and be served by terrific individuals. And in fact, I don't know how many of you know this, but we have one of the finest state music educators associations in the country because of the great vision and leadership. And I'd like to say thank you and congratulations to all who have served. I've been really pleased to be surrounded by some really strong, dynamic, energetic, motivated, musical, wonderful colleagues at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Several of the letters that were written on my behalf came from my colleagues there. And I'm very pleased that some past and present colleagues are here this evening, and I'd like them to stand and be recognized too. As Wayne mentioned, there will be an article in the next Nebraska Music Educator where I made some acknowledgments of a lot of other people who have helped along the way. But I'd like to especially mention several people that were really significant in my life and my career. My high school band and choir director were terrific people, and they encouraged me to pursue music as an area of study. And when I went to Bowling Green to do my bachelor's degree, as good fortune would strike again, Mark Kelly came to Bowling Green as director of bands. I would not be the kind of person today I am without his influence and his leadership. He called me and asked me if I would take a leadership role with the marching band, with the bands that year. It was my last year in school, and I thought I didn't need something else to do, but I said yes. Oh my gosh. It's paid dividends throughout my career. I learned so much from that man. And then I relocated to the Warren Youngstown area, and a guy I grew up fearing was the high school band director at Harding High School and went to Youngstown University. Much of what we do at UNO in the band area, I modeled after what he did. Bob Fleming is one of the finest musicians and music educators I've ever known. He became a guy I feared auditioning for to my friend and my colleague. And in addition, I played in the big band, and he was the leader of the big band. And and I owe Bob Fleming a great deal for all he did. There are many others that I owe thanks to as well. I mentioned Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson and Jack Snyder were two of the people I looked to for guidance and mentorship when I first came here as a young guy, not so young anymore. And I'd like to personally say thanks to both of them. Dwayne was on the board with me and has been someone I've admired and looked up to, and Jack has become a very valued and trusted friend and train collector. And finally, I did not know he was going to be here today, and I talk about him in this article, but I wouldn't be here today if a gentleman named Del Weber had picked up the phone after I turned the job down, if you know, and called me and said, "I hear you're thinking about not taking the job here." And I said, "No, you've heard wrong. I'm not taking the job." He convinced me to come. He assured me that the support would be there to build the program. And for the next 20 years, Del Weber and Otto Bauer were two of the strongest supporters anybody could have. Anything that we've done could not have been done without the leadership and the inspiration of Chancellor Weber. And I'm so honored that he and his wife are here today as well. And finally, I would like to acknowledge the many, many students that I have had the good fortune to teach over the years. Something in my brain doesn't work very well, and before you answer that question, I don't have very good memory for bad experiences. And from time to time, I'll hear from or see a student who will apologize for the way that they did something or other, and I've forgotten it. But I've had some great students, and I hear from many of them all the time, and I'm so pleased and proud of the accomplishments that they have made. So many of them are making a difference in the lives of a lot of students as well. In one of my reviews from the College of Fine Arts Dean Karen White, who also is a music educator, she made the following observation. Quote, "When I think of Jim Sager, I have a vision of him as the person holding the ladder, so I'm just going to ascend." It's one of the nicest compliments I think I've ever had from anyone. But in this room are a lot of people who've held the ladder for me too. And I want to thank you for that. And thank you so much for this honor.
Just one final comment. Nominations for the next Hall of Fame have to be in by name for